to announce our hackathon winning teams and a partnership that we've had with Brain Wellness. So I'm Tim Murphy. I represent the Dynamic Brain Circuits and Health and Disease Research Excellence Cluster. And I guess we had this idea to do a hackathon, and we partnered with Matt Cicelli and Silky Cresswell and the Brain Wellness Program, and I think it really turned out great. And we've got some apps that are really interesting that I think incorporate both the kind of the data that we know and love in the brain circuits cluster, and then also the needs of the brain wellness program. So Matt, do you want to say a few words about the program?
Yeah, thanks, Tim. So I'm Matt Cicelli. I'm the manager of the BC Brain Wellness Program. And what this program is an integrated approach to brain wellness here at DMCBH. And what we're trying to do is improve the lives and the quality of life of people with chronic brain conditions, their care partners, and healthy agers. So we offer programs. We have 27 different programs for these individuals that are offered online. We also offer educational-based programs, which you'll see called Wellness Wednesdays, and volunteer opportunities for students. And then we're also doing research, so studying the effectiveness and efficacy of different lifestyle-based programs like exercise or mindfulness or diet or whatnot. And this collaboration with the Dynamics Brain Circuit really gave us a great opportunity to leverage technology to improve the lives of all these individuals. So the winners today and all the projects that were produced were fantastic, and we really look forward to developing these further. So back to you, Tim.
Okay, well, thank you, Matt, and thanks for your help with the hackathon. And just to give some background, so this happened last August. We had 8 teams, 38 individuals, and people were really drawn from literally all over the world. I mean, we had some teams from Europe, Middle East. It was really impressive. But the top teams were from UBC, who you'll meet today. And I had never been involved with a hackathon. I was in love with the concept of developing an app for brain health. And I think it was a really fun opportunity for, at least for our students, to kind of take a break from their regular research and to do something to assist the brain wellness program. And one of the things I learned along the way is that hackathons aren't necessarily about like raw skill at coding. They're about having a diverse team with different skill sets. I mean, you need concept people. I mean, you need coders, but you also need people that can present the concept. And then ultimately, the top teams are the ones that really come up the best in all domains. So if you're on the fence about being involved in a future hackathon, just go ahead and do it, because the teams really benefit from this sort of broad expertise. And so we'll see the 2 winners. One of the things we had to do with the hackathon is I had this idea that we were going to do it, and then Keegan Flanagan, who is our co-op student, and then also some of the brain wellness people, Anjali and Jin, they're like, oh, wait a minute, we got to have rules and guidelines. And so Keegan, together with the others at Brain Wellness, with Anjali and Jin, you'll hear more about, they put together extensive guidelines on how to do this fairly and how to judge the output, and then really identifying areas that the brain wellness program was looking for innovation in. And I think that really came through. And then we had these different criteria: novelty, impact, usability, kind of creativity, and polish. And then big thanks to our judges, Yundi Wang, one of our graduate students, and then our faculty, Catherine Winstanley, Jeremy Siemens, and Martin McEwen, for taking the time to go through these. And they can all be seen on DevPost, which is a place where I guess hackathons are hosted online, and there's also videos there and code, and really a kind of fun place to look around. This is our organizing committee. So Matt, the brain wellness manager, and myself lead on the brain circuits. And then Jin Lee, who we had tons of Zoom meetings, but I finally got to meet her face to face. Works in research program manager at the Brain Wellness Program. And then Jeff, of course, and then Anjali, who is an undergraduate in kind of health and engineering, who is, I guess, a veteran of hackathons herself, and really a great resource. And then Keegan, who is our co-op student, who really laid down these ground rules. And so that just a outstanding team to work with. And one of the things we do in the brain circuits group is we run an activity called Data Binge, and we're having one today at 12:30. And this is where people bring research questions to our forum, and then we sort of stream them out to a series of tutors that we have that work with Data Binge. These are your graduate student peers, and they help to solve some technical hurdles that people have in coding and really kind of best practices in data analysis. So let's see, why don't I give it to Nicole, who is our current co-op student, and she's going to introduce the teams.
Thank you, Dr. Murphy and Dr. Sekeli. I'm Nicole. Dr. Murphy introduced me already, but I'm the co-op student at the Dynamic Brain Circuits cluster. I'll just go over a few housekeeping items before we get started. So this is a hybrid meeting. Obviously, some of you are here in person and some of you are attending via Zoom. And the session is being recorded. So if you don't want to be in the recording for any reason, just let me know and I can cut portions out. Please leave your mic muted at all times unless you're asking a question. And during our question and answer periods, please use the mics in front of you. Just press the button once to turn it on and once to turn it off. And on Zoom, you can feel free to use the raise hand feature or type your question in the chat and we'll be moderating it. It's my pleasure to now introduce Team Loud, who came first place in our Brain Tech Hackathon. You'll recognize their faces and names as graduate students here at the center and as Data Binge tutors. We have Daniel, Hao, and Edward, who are in the Cell and Developmental Biology program. Abhijit, who's in the Bioinformatics program, and Pankaj and Tony, who are in the Neuroscience program. Together, they created a game called Loudy Bird for patients with Parkinson's disease. So without further ado, I'll invite Daniel to come up and tell you more about their work.
So we are Team Loud, and we developed an application, a game, for people with Parkinson's disease to help them improve and alleviate the symptoms associated with speech difficulties. So apart from me, other team members are Edward, Tony, Abhijit, Pankaj, and Hao. And before I start, we would like to acknowledge that we are gathered today on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Musqueam people, and would also like to thank the organizers, Dynamic Brain Circuit in Health and Disease Research Excellence Cluster, the BC Brain Wellness Program, and Djavad Mowafaghian Centre for Brain Health. So Parkinson's disease is a neurodegenerative disorder, meaning that through time, people lose neurons in the brain, and it develops by losing motor coordination and ability to perform fine motor tasks. There are around 10 million people worldwide diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, and its signs and symptoms include tremor, bradykinesia, which is slowness of movement, rigid muscles, impaired posture, and speech changes. So currently, unfortunately, there isn't any treatment for Parkinson's disease, but usually patients can improve their motor skills through physical therapy and speech therapy. So as I mentioned, there are speech impairments associated with the disorder. These communication difficulties usually can result in patients becoming socially isolated, and they might have difficulty communicating their needs. Usually partners, friends, and families of these people might notice this, and usually PD patients might complain about the fact that their husband or wife cannot hear them and needs hearing aids, or they are not noticed in gatherings while they're talking and they're kind of ignored. But they're all because they have lost their ability to speak loudly. So these impairments are usually called hypokinetic dysarthria and involves reduced volume even when they think they are speaking loudly, and hoarse voice quality, monotone in conversation, and reduced frequency range of their voice, imprecise articulation, vocal tremor, and change in rate of speech. One of the most common treatments or therapies for the speech impairments is Lee-Silverman voice treatment, or LSVT for short. And it actually is a pretty intensive treatment, which involves hour-long sessions with speech language pathologists. So it is usually given 4 times a week for 4 weeks. And during the sessions, participants usually use exaggerated motions and behaviors and sounds. Usually person's loudness is measured through different voice exercises using a decibel sound meter and monitored by the therapist. In this demo that was actually taken from the LSVT Global Foundation official YouTube channel, you can see the person being asked to, okay, I guess we don't have the sound right, but I'll do the sound myself. This is before treatment, and the person is more like, and then after treatment, they're more like, These exaggerated exercises actually help them to improve their control over jaw, mouth, facial muscles involved in speaking accurately. But these therapy is kind of boring, challenging, and definitely not fun. And it's pretty intensive also. And because there aren't many physical therapists, or might not be in many regions, it sometimes might actually involve a lot of commute to the therapist, especially when it's like 4 times a week. And that could be especially problematic if it's something like now, pandemic situation. So we've kind of combined artificial intelligence, technology, and neuroscience to develop a game called Loudy-Bird. So with this game, we kind of take the concept of the protocol used in LSVT and help the Parkinson's patients to gain their ability to produce loud and comprehensible sounds accurately. So in the main treatment, there are 3 main stages, which we've kind of implemented in the game. First is the loud sustained movement or vocalization, which in the game would, in the volume controlled levels, control the height at which the bird is flying. There is directional movement or pitch changes, which in the game, through the frequency controlled levels, would control the height through the frequencies made by the player. And finally, saying out loud functional phrases or words that in the game would give the player a one-up. Also, through our game, they will get a detailed report of their performance, which can be used by themselves and the therapist to monitor their improvements. So I just wanted to go over how the idea was generated. Way before the hackathon event, one of our lab members in Dr. Tim Murphy, Dong Sheng, was presenting on posture estimation and its use in Parkinson's disease to objectively assess the progression of the disease. And I came up with the idea that this could be used in an application, software, or a website to kind of tailor personalized exercises for people with the disorder. After telling Pankaj about the idea and kind of the whole hackathon thing happening, he thought it's a good idea and we should give it a try. And we gathered the team and the team was formed and we kind of discussed the idea and we got the feeling that it's a little bit hard, especially the coding and training the machine learning algorithm to do the posture detection, and it's really resource intensive. So we went through literature to see if there are any easier therapies or things that we can easily implement in an application that could help people with Parkinson's. And we found this treatment for speech disorders associated with Parkinson's, which seemed pretty good. And actually Edward suggested using a game instead of a really boring app. And Tony came up with the idea of using Angry Birds. But we noticed that there are so many parameters in Angry Birds that need to be controlled by the user, and it would make the game a bit hard, especially for someone with Parkinson's. Then Pankaj suggested using Flappy Bird, which I had never heard of at the moment, and it seemed to be working pretty well. We actually think that this game would promote training completion because it's fun, and it would give the therapist the ability to monitor patients' improvements. It's fun and accessible. You can use it anywhere in the world, and it's free. So I hand it over to other team members to do a demo.
Yeah, so the app right now is a Python-based game, which can be run on laptop only. So that's why we are using the laptop to show you the actual demo. And Edward will just pull up the version, not coming up there.
Oops. Okay, sorry.
I don't know if the screen just went.
Oh, huh.
It was just working, right?
Yeah.
Can I unplug in?
I just did that. Okay. That's weird.
It was just working.
The game doesn't want to be played.
If you switch it back over to the presentation, does it show?
Well, yeah, I can try that. Ah, wait. Okay, is it in some sort of presentation mode? Or?
Can you try something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you not seeing what's on the screen?
Yeah.
So you can, if you press Windows P, just in Windows,
Windows P.
then you can select duplicate monitor.
No.
Duplicate. Duplicate.
Ah,
Okay.
beautiful. Thanks, Tim. Did you put on the?
Yeah. Okay. So this is the game UI we have developed. Looks like a mobile app, which is what it was intended for. So in this game, you need. Oh yeah. Can I remove the mask for a bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
The mask kind of mask.
Yeah. Okay. The game starts by pressing a key. So you press a button like spacebar, and the game will start. And I'll have to make sound to get the player height up or down. And this is the volume control version where you have to increase the loudness of your voice to get the player to control the player. And there's another version with the frequency. Eventually, we want to combine these two and different stages of the game. Yeah. Yeah. Can I go ahead?
Yeah.
Oh, can you check it's connected though?
Yeah.
The mic?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Just put on the mouse.
Yeah. Yeah.
You gotta wear it.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, maybe let's try again.
Yeah. Okay, we can try again. Yeah.
Okay.
I can
Be
press.
ready.
Yeah.
You can.
Okay, I'm tired.
Okay, this is pretty challenging even for healthy people. Okay, let's try the frequency version.
Yeah, so this is the frequency version where I have to change my frequency to modulate the game. Can I go? Oops. Okay.
Use low frequency.
Okay. So you have to be really careful. Thank you.
Thanks for.
Yeah, so we can go through the slide now.
Okay.
Oops.
Wrong click. All right.
Yeah. Okay, so there are some challenges though, like we want to, this works with the voices of all of our, or not all, but most of the team members. But I think this needs to be more calibrated for individual people in real time when they're to play it. So based on their volume level that they're beginning with. So that's one challenge. And then we have to come up with a design of difficulty levels of the game itself, because every person is different in terms of improvement. So that can be adaptive over the time based on how they're doing. And yeah, that's it. And the future plans are to implement the functional phrases like good morning or something like that for 5 times to get a new life in the game, and then probably to run a test trial with the actual patients if it works, and potentially collaborate with the clinical research team to deploy in real time, and also to develop it in a real iPhone or iPad or Android platform as a game. Yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you, Team Loud. Does anybody have any questions? Want to monitor that? Yeah.
Okay, this is a really cool idea, and congratulations for developing this. As a family member of somebody with Parkinson's, I can give a slight feedback for the app. I think it would be really nice if you can add something like a motivation while the bird is flying through the platform, because much like the Mario game, you can earn coins and something, because it's very hard with people with Parkinson's to stay motivated on a task and to keep doing it for a while. So I just feel this might be a nice addition. Thank you.
Yeah, I really think that motivation there should be something more about adding motivation. Okay, yeah, I think it's a really good point that motivation needs to be, we need to do more about having them motivated throughout the game. But I think it's a improvement from the existing Lee Silverman test by like making it more accessible and fun to play. But the point is, I think, very valid that it needs to be more engaged in their motivation. So if you have any idea in the future, please, let us know too.
So I have a question too. And again, this is very cool. Love it. Now, I think you partially addressed that you're going to have different levels of difficulty, but you yourself got tired, for example. And I was just wondering, when they're doing that test in person, do they give them breaks? And should you maybe incorporate smaller levels in the app?
So yeah, I think that's part of adapting it to each player. So there would be initial like calibration rounds where it will see how they're doing, etc. I got tired partly because of the breathing thing, and also because I'm presenting here in front of so many people. But I think patients would be more comfortable playing the game. But yeah, that's a really good point too, and I think that's what I meant when I said it needs to be adapted to each patient. Good point.
Yeah, I thought this was so cool. So how did you come up with the idea? Like, what was the process in your group of like, just brainstorming this out?
Yeah, so as Daniel mentioned briefly, I think we already were seeing some data we were trying to like process some gait analysis of Parkinson's patients' data in Tim's lab. And that's where Daniel thought of doing something about it. And then we thought, okay, this is too difficult of a task for a hackathon. Then I don't know how Daniel thought of this test. He was looking up, and I think one of the impairments was speech impairments. And then we saw, okay, this can easily be translated to kind of gamified experience. And then Tony and others were like interested in implementing in controlling Angry Bird sort of kind of character. And then upon further looking up, it was not directly mapping the control of the voice to the Angry Bird because it needs to rotate and launch, and then you have no control. Where do you control the voice? So then this Flappy Bird came up, and we thought this will exactly translate the task parameters to the gameplay. So that was basically the process, and it happened over like 2 days or 3 days before the hackathon began. So the idea generation was like took 2-3 days. So that was quite crucial. If Daniel wants to add something. or anyone?
Well, the thing is that we actually, to zoom in the part that I kind of thought of the kind of voice treatment strategy was I basically went through all of the physical therapy that Parkinson's patients go through and looked for the easiest one that could be implemented without the needs of a specialist being present.
Thanks for the question.
Sorry, I have another question too, because I know that physical exercise helps people with Parkinson's with their symptoms. So I was wondering, is there a way to implement any physical aspect to this test that would help them perform better? And would that be something worth getting a speech therapist to help you with the app design?
Mm-hmm.
I can answer that actually.
Sure.
So the LSVT Foundation and their protocol involves actually two stages. They have the LSVT loud protocol and they have the LSVT big protocol. The LSVT big actually involves also hand and foot motions as well. They have to, for example, raise their hands while they're increasing the pitch and lower their hands and things like that. And that's why I mentioned it usually involves both motion and sound formation. For now, this was like the easiest thing that we could develop. But if we want to, actually, if I don't think we would have time to deploy that in the game. But if someone wanted to have add-ons on the game and develop it further, that would be a really cool idea to have those posture estimation things, algorithms running in the background and doing the whole LSVT big protocol, which involves movements too.
I was just wondering, like Wii, for example, if you could get this on Wii, like you
Yeah.
have that and then be a way to virtually, for example, have the therapy.
Yeah.
Without them having to use it.
That's a really cool idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to add that, yeah, that's a really great idea, and integrating, making a game based on Wii, it's a really great addition to the game. Even though I think they could be separate, because then everything is in one thing and might be more messy, and then these could be two different games. Also, because I think the controls would be different in the movement-based game. Excellent point. Thank you.
Hello? Here.
Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of adding motion controls to games and stuff, I know a lot of mobile apps are on the Nintendo Switch as well. Not sure if that would work, but the controllers do have gyroscopes in them, like better than a Wiimote. And in terms of motivating them to keep going in the game, there are a lot of literatures on how games do that in the mobile apps to keep people playing. So even like having a number ticker go up whenever you pass like a pipe would be motivation enough for them to keep going, to see that number go up.
Yeah, that's something easy to be implemented, right? Like yeah.
I didn't notice it. Maybe it could be like more central on the bottom of the screen. I don't know.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point, I think. Thanks. Okay, I'm signaled that I'm done. Thank you. No. Okay.
Well,
thank you, everyone.
I think we better move on, but thank you, Team Loud.
Hi, I'm Jin.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here on yet another cold Vancouver winter morning. My name is Terry Lin, and I'm a third-year student in computer science and microbiology and immunology. And this is Jabel. She's in also a third year in comp sci and physics. And this is Amy and Cox. On behalf of our group members who couldn't make it today, which is Weenie, Ethan, Paulina, Jason, and Kevin, we welcome everyone to our presentation on Dendrii, our submission to the 2021 Brain Tech Hackathon. Well, in one sentence, Dendrii can be summarized as a desktop app that bridges research-driven brain health training combined with virtual pet companionship, which is, you can think of it as like a Tamagotchi game from like years ago, but with a slight twist as a dendrite, as seen here. Yeah. And then you may be wondering what inspired like a weird and cute game that's like Dendrii. And Amy is going to tell us all about the background of this app.
Thanks, Terry. So as of 2020, there are over 6 million seniors living in Canada, and many of them experience some sort of cognitive decline that comes with age, such as forgetfulness or dementia. So as a result, our idea for Dendrii just began as a simple hub of cognitive activities that can be specifically designed for the senior population to help cope with these symptoms. However, we also wondered how we could incentivize the process, how we can make our users return every day and maintain their progress. So this led to the inception of our pet neuron, a adorable, smiley, and floating creature who is our flagship virtual pet, providing companionship without the financial and physical care implications of real-world pets, such as expensive veterinary bills or allergies. Inspired by the positive impact of the use of robo-pets in senior homes, such as decreased loneliness and depression, our virtual pet system seeks to achieve similar effects but with significantly reduced costs. So in order to keep our little neuron friend happy, users need to complete different goal-oriented activities, and they will be rewarded with myelins, the Dendrii world currency that can be used to acquire items as seen in the item shop here. So you can buy toys, food, outfits, anything to your fancy. So users will complete activities in 3 different categories: journal, learn, and play every day as a regimen. Each category is based on activities shown to be effective in different aspects, all according to research. So the journal category takes a spin on the traditional mood journal. The user will choose a mood of an image of a mood that best aligns with their own. They're also invited to record an audio clip that relates the reasons why they have or feeling this way, and that will get converted into a transcript and recorded for multi-day mood tracking. A 2018 study indicated that expressive writing, which is why we're taking a spin on it as expressive audio if you take it, can be beneficial for anxiety, which inspired the addition of this category. And the Learn category will provide jargon-free and beginner-friendly summaries of concepts related to brain health. In spirit of science communication, this category aims to provide a learning opportunity for seniors and make intimidating resources more digestible. A 2012 review article highlighted many benefits to lifelong learning, which we aim to provide. And last but not least, the play category and our central focus during the hackathon. A 2014 study on cognitive interventions in seniors found that such interventions help conserve and maintain cognitive competence, as well as cope with cognitive decline. So obviously we cannot improve what has already developed in dementia or forgetfulness, but what we can do is prevent it from worsening much faster. So this study inspired the categories of our game, which include cognitive ability, memory, and reflex. So today we'll be demoing 2 games from our memory and reflex categories, card matching and polka dot, which engages users with classic nostalgic games that have added features to personalize their experience.
Before we go into our demo, I want to introduce the method. From the beginning, we wanted to make sure that, unlike us sad undergrad students, our project needed to have a defined purpose of existence. So we decided that we wanted to create something that could help the older population. After our idea was fleshed out and our research was completed, we designed a general framework of the app. On the screen is the original mapped out plan from the homepage all the way to each buttons and the mini games. We nicknamed it the old-fashioned Figma. The app was designed in 2 programming languages, mostly Java with some Python, which is perfectly aligned with the comp sci department curriculum if you're familiar with it. When designing the UI, we first created a flowchart from our framework to get a general idea of the layout of this app, as well as interaction with the buttons. This flowchart also streamlined the design process and ultimately made it easier for us to implement the UI because it modeled all of the possible interactions that a user can make with our app. Also, the flowchart included a clear purpose for each page and buttons, which gave us the direction towards a specific goal in mind, allowing for us to focus on exactly what we needed to do. For us, obviously it's a 24-hour competition. Time was the biggest constraint. And while we were not able to implement everything we wanted to do, this flowchart ensured that the app we had, this flowchart ensured that the app had a solid foundation that can be expanded upon later on. When it was time to code, this foundation also allowed us to direct our time and energy to the more ambitious parts of our app, such as the unique games that will be demoed by Jabel.
So we'd now like to begin our demo of the app. So I'm just going to open it up real quick. So the homepage you see here shows the virtual pet that seniors engage with. Every action you take helps the pet make the pet happier, and it makes you healthier. We're going to take a look through all of the different pages that we have here. So first is the learning page. This is where we take peer-reviewed studies and we make them more accessible to users. This is where they can find helpful information on brain health. This is the journal page that Amy talked about earlier, including the voice recording tool and a mood tracking tool. If we click the play button right here, it'll bring us to the game menu where we can choose what skills we want to improve on today. So we're going to take a look at the memory game, which is a card matching game. So when we were young, probably a lot of us played some variation of a traditional matching game, whether it be with like pictures or words or shapes. We wanted to take that card game and we wanted to be able to personalize it for seniors, specifically seniors who are facing memory loss due to symptoms of dementia. The effectiveness of these matching-based memory games has been observed in other studies in similar games, such as Flying Memory, which was used in a study that found memory skill games to help prevent dementia. Users are actually able to input pictures of their loved ones, as well as their respective names. The player is then able to play the game just like the traditional version, matching a person's name to their face. So in our demo here, we feature the pictures of our group members. So this is our whole team up here. The way the game works is basically you click a face and you try to match it to their name. So this is my face and my dog, but my name's not Ethan, so it'll tell me to try again. But if I click my picture with my name, it's correct. And we keep going until we've gotten all of the names and faces correct. Once we've successfully completed the game, we see that we have won the game and we have earned 15 myelin, which, as Amy talked about, we can use to buy items in the shop. The other game we have here is called Polka Dot, and this one was actually written in Python, so it's a little different from, it's not actually accessible from the UI we wrote before, but the idea for this game was to help with reflexes and memory retention. So research shows that speeded processing games have yielded positive cognitive results in senior players. But in particular, we wanted to create a game that helps seniors remember the phone numbers of their loved ones. So this game, it's a fake phone number, but the name on the screen is Maki, which is my dog's name, who obviously does not have a phone number, but I wanted to include her in this anyway. And starting the game opens a window with randomly colored falling numbers ranging from 0 to 9. The player must click on the numbers in the correct order for the phone number to appear number by number on the screen. So we can click 6, 0, 4. The next number is 1, but if I don't click the number 1, it won't show up. So we have to get the numbers correct in the correct order. And once the game has won, the player again earns 15 myelin for their hard work. The spacebar can be pressed to restart the game with different colors. And once we've played the games and collected some in-game currency, we can head to the shop and get things to make our pet all happy and pretty and everything. And that concludes our demo of the app. We did run into a few challenges while creating this. Other than the really intense time constraint, we had a lot of different diverse members on our team. And while that's a strength because they brought a lot of different things to the table, it was also a bit limiting because we all had different experiences or levels of programming experience. While a lot of us are in computer science, we did have students on our team that are in biology or chemistry, who were fairly new to coding or didn't code in the same languages that we all did, which is why one of our biggest challenges was we couldn't get all of the code to integrate. So as you saw in the demo, we couldn't get the UI, the Java UI to open the Python app that we made. Yeah, we also wrote the program in pairs. So at the very end, when we brought all of our things together, it was very late in the hackathon and we couldn't get them to work all together. Yeah.
And I'm back for the future direction. So while Dendrii right now is still a prototype from the hackathon, if it were realized in the full, we hope to introduce it to the older population and bring it to senior homes as a form of research-based cognitive training that is low maintenance for staff, easily implementable, and incurs no exorbitant costs. It would also be expanded to include other features, such as allowing loved ones to record messages to be expressed by the neuron pet, an option to share progress, and also incorporate a safe platform for seniors to socialize online and have some friendly competition. Dendrii can also have some research implications. With the permission of users, statistics on their performance over time can be collected and analyzed to see the effectiveness of cognitive exercises and virtual pet systems.
Okay, overall, Dendrii is not just another generic brain health app. It aims to be accessible and grounded in research with the goal to keep users engaged in the long term for the benefit of their health. Inspired by our seniors who may be intimidated and left in the dust of the technological race, but who all deserve to be included in the technology that is suited for their needs. Special thanks to the BC Brain Wellness Program, DBC, and the DMCBH for the opportunity to participate in this hackathon. Thank you to all the judges and the team behind this event, as we all had a great time and it was a great experience for all of us. This concluded our presentation. Thank you all for listening, and we wish you all the best. While we take everything apart, any questions?
I'll just talk loudly.
Okay.
Oh no, I think I'm good. I think I'm on now. I was struck by the similarity between the idea of the virtual pet and the games that that my kids are playing on Roblox now, where they're really motivated to make their little guy look different with the weird dragon goggles and stuff. Like they'll spend their pocket money on it. Do seniors do the same thing? Is this just universal? Will they want to dress up their little Dendrii?
What we found is that seniors tend to have in the form of pet companionship, but in real life, more like dogs, cat, and all that. But as the technology advances, we are suspecting this is going to shift to a more digital version as well. Like as our generation grow up and all that, people will be more familiar with this concept. So yes, we do hope and do think that in the future, this is going to be a trend for the seniors as well.
And just to add on, as we mentioned in the presentation, they had attempted to use robo-pets that resemble actual animals in senior homes, and they found that really effective. But one of the issues with that was that making these robots and making sure they don't break and things like that can be extremely expensive, and not everyone has access to that, which is why we decided to make it virtual. And just a little anecdote, my mom, she's gonna hit her 60s soon, and all she does is play games and take care of the little house and the little people inside the game. So that's part of our inspiration.
Really nice job. I like it that you involved the kind of the seniors family and the picture matching game, and in particular now at, I guess, seniors' homes because of COVID, they can't interact with families. So the game is really, quite timely, well done. And yeah, I'm impressed that you've, really two things. So you have the overall Dendrii kind of motivational background, and then these are also kind of custom games that you've made, 2 games. So great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. So I saw that you plan to then have a way to play with others, I think. And I was just wondering, since as Catherine mentioned, like children are really into these games as well. Would it be an opportunity to connect grandparents, for example, with their grandchildren, and they can both play the same thing? Because my grandma loves to play bridge with others, and it's the being able to connect with someone else. So it'd be nice if you could connect families across generations with these simple games that are educational at the same time. It's a great platform.
Originally, as mentioned in the presentation, we had 3 different sections that are cognitive ability, memory, and reflex. And these are the 3 aspects that we think we can improve for the seniors. And then, for example, the bridge you mentioned can be part of the mini games that's in the cognitive aspect. And then something else that's maybe Subway Surf, that kind of thing, would be, with a slight twist, can be in the reflex, different parts you can train, and then obviously that can be played with the younger generation as well. I think this is a really great addition to the game. Yeah.
Just drawing on that comment, and also the comment made earlier about motivation. And I know that this is very much future directions, yada, yada, but I think this has got so much potential. If there was a way for people to see each other's neurons, so that you could, it sounds so strange when I say it, but again, during my personal experience, my kids will trade all these little things that they get through these Roblox games. They love trading them with each other. So in terms, if you have a social environment so that, the granddaughter can trade the, I don't know, whatever you get from a little shop, then you're on the hat with grandma, and then maybe they'll want to trade amongst their friends. It sounds so elemental and silly, but I've played some of these games with my kids, and they are fun. They're just really fun. And I think getting that motivation component and that social connection, this is such a beautiful start to that. I think could be really, really cool.
Actually, one thing we thought about during the thought process was the VR component in the future, because right now with the Oculus and everything, if you can visualize it in front of you, obviously that feels different. But yeah, we don't yet have the ability to do that. But in the lab that I work in right now, we do a lot of VR stuff, and then I think it would be a great idea to kind of combine them in the future, just so the visualization aspect would be great as well. Yeah, thank you.
I'd also like to add, if anyone was playing Animal Crossing when it first came out during the pandemic, one of the biggest things about it was that it was social, that you could see your friends and you could see your family virtually when we couldn't see them in person. So yeah, I agree, that's a great aspect, and that's a great part to integrate into the game.
I just had a question as well. I was curious about the educational component of your app, and if you guys had any ideas of maybe in the future, if you developed it further, of how that might be regularly updated and where those resources might be coming from.
Yeah, so the reason we included that page was, in general, I think, peer-reviewed studies, research, it's hard for people that aren't in academia to access. It's a little bit difficult because of the language, because they don't know where to find these things, because they just don't have access. So we kind of assumed that if this app were real, we would have a team that would take a look at those studies on brain health, and we would make them more accessible for people like that. We would make the language a lot clearer. We would make them easier to read, and we would give them access to those studies along with those links.
And just to add on to the resources where we would get to update this, one of the ideas that was like briefly thought of, but because it's so future direction, it wasn't included, is in introductory like university English classes, they make you learn how to summarize and write literature reviews. So it'd be really cool and interesting if we can somehow incorporate that with classroom assignments to give them an opportunity to contribute back, but while also reducing possible costs.
Yeah, I'll just jump in. That's exactly what we're trying to do with the brain wellness program. So we should probably connect offline. That's perfect.
I just thought of this idea that what if you can integrate your game with the games that kids play, where elderly people could earn these add-ons and then donate to the kids, and then that could the kids would ask the grandparents to play it for them to get add-ons, so that could motivate them to play.
Then just another idea for a game, if you could integrate music in any way, because music has really been helpful for memory, that would be really good as well.
Super cool idea.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions? Okay, well, thank you to both teams. And I also wanted to mention we have programming intro starting next Friday in Python, MATLAB, and R. So if you're at all interested in learning a little bit more about programming, please, you can send me an email or Jeff or Dr. Murphy, and we can add you to the Slack. And thank you, everybody, for coming. Have a great day.